Welcome back to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube. I got two Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zexer Burkle, here with the coach today, Aaron. Go and say hi, Aaron.
Hi.
All right, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Other than that, let's go ahead and get into it. So, in this video, we'll be taking a look at the Denver Broncos' current situation and what we think they could do this offseason to improve their standing amongst the rest of the AFC and NFL. So, without further ado, Aaron, what are your initial thoughts looking at the Denver Broncos cap situation? Since, by the way, I forgot to mention cutting Russell Wilson.
They're fucked. I mean, that's like the largest dead cap hit in NFL history, and it's not even close.
Yeah, it's not good.
So that's gonna take quite a bit of finagling to be good over the next 2 years. Especially having to go out and find a quarterback now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. I mentioned, or I saw today, Nick Wright mentioned that when you make a mistake like this, it's essentially a 5-year mistake. Because you got the initial 2 years you wasted having Russell Wilson as your quarterback. And then the next 2 years trying to, get right after all of this disaster, try to get out of the cap situation that you've created for yourself, and try to, draft using less picks than you would have had before trading for Russell Wilson. And then that 5th year is that's kind of when you expect those guys that you would have drafted with those picks you traded for Russell Wilson to start being, hitting their prime and being, big contributors to the team. Yeah, well, that's what's going to happen. What should have happened is them sticking with Drew Lock or drafting somebody else, but not going out and getting, a washed quarterback who was clearly over the hill with Seattle. Bring him in thinking that, oh, it'll be better in your system with your rookie head coach who you fire after the first year anyways, before bringing in a retired head coach who only has a history of working with one quarterback his entire career, essentially, at least as a head guy. Bring him in to hopefully turn around this disaster of a franchise that John Elway created as general manager for so long, where he already couldn't draft anybody competent to play the frickin' quarterback position. The only time they ever had anybody of even worth talking about was Peyton Manning after the Colts had given up on him and chosen Andrew Luck. This has been a disaster for the last, 2 decades. Ever since John Elway retired, this franchise has just been in flames. What do you think's the first step in trying to somehow get out of this train wreck?
Well, I would just like to point out Russell Wilson never played a single snap under his extension. Just let that sink in for a second. So that really hurts. First step, as with turning any franchise around, you got to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
Which this year is, decently full. You got a number of. Yeah, go ahead. Take Sam Hartman, take JJ McCarthy.
Spencer Rattler.
Taking them. Spencer Rattler. Yeah, one of those quarterbacks. No. I mean, they've got to find somebody. Whether or not they do that this year or not, who knows? But I don't really know what Sean Payton plans to do with their cap problems, because it's not like he did any better in New Orleans. He ran them into cap hell and then retired.
Yeah, yeah,
And the Broncos are already in cap hell, so
yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do.
So I have an idea. I have an idea, and it'll go one of two ways if they actually go through with this idea. It'll
Sit
either,
out 2 years and don't spend any money.
essentially, yes, actually, kind of. So what you do, right? Sean Payton. I kind of stole this first part off of First Things First too. I don't want to make it seem like I came up with this all on my own. Sean Payton. You know what? Free agent, backup quarterback. Sean Payton has a history with. I'll let you. I'll give you a hint.
Age.
I'll give you a hint.
Oh, Jameis. I
Broncos bring in
didn't know he
Jameis
was a free agent.
Winston on a 1 year, minimum contract, whatever. Because after, I mean, obviously, New Orleans is going to bring him back, and then I don't think there's a clamoring around the league for Jameis Winston right now. So I don't think he's going to be super expensive, especially if you promise him a starting job, right? Just promise him a starting job, bring him in, use your first round pick, start building up that offensive line. You've already got a couple decent weapons outside in the receiver position with Cortland Sutton. Jerry Judy's got potential. You got Tim Patrick, maybe. You got a good defense, right? You already got a good defense. Jokes about the Miami game this season aside, they were able to turn it around and have a pretty decent season defensively. So just keep doing what you're doing on the defensive side. Bring in Jameis as a stopgap quarterback. Draft the infrastructure you need to be successful on offense. That offensive line. Maybe see if you can get a better running back. And if you've still got a couple picks up your sleeve, maybe go out and get a pass catcher. Kind of basically sit out this draft from a quarterback standpoint, unless a guy like I don't know, maybe you can get Sam Hartman in the 5th or 6th round. Sure, why not? Go ahead. Um, but don't go get one of those top tier guys in the first round because you're just inevitably going to get him destroyed behind that offensive line. Russell Wilson, you know, he had a tendency to hold the ball a little too long and try to make something happen. A lot of rookies fall into that same mistake. So the better the offensive line is, the less likely that is of being a problem because you can hold the ball longer. So build up the offensive line, wait, get a rookie quarterback maybe next year or the year after that. Maybe Jameis Winston's really nice this season. You bring him back for another year and then see what happens from there. But that's kind of how, in my opinion, you can get yourself a quarterback that doesn't, potentially ruin the next 5 years of your franchise. And then are also able to build up the team around a quarterback. What do you think?
Where are they picking?
I think like 12,
12?
13-ish.
See, I think that's high enough to get somebody decent. I think, you know,
But do you
like
want him
a
getting? But do you think that that's like a game changer? And because my standpoint is he enough of a game changer to where he can make up for the deficiencies everywhere else? If not, he's probably gonna get hurt. Yeah, it's 12.
Mahomes was 10, so it's not out of the realm of possibility for one of these guys to, be like a diamond in the rough and really develop. And I'm not saying um you start him right away. Maybe you
Yeah,
do actually you draft him and then you bring in Jameis Winston and he sits behind him for a year. Then you start, building that offensive line kind of like you said, because it's not like he's going to be making crazy money right out of the gate. I mean, look at Jordan Love. Jordan Love sat for what 4 seasons and finally got his start.
yeah.
So it's not like you have to start him right away.
No,
Plus, I
it's
mean, do you
fair.
plan on drafting in the top 15 every year? Coming up.
Well, I
I would
mean,
hope
like,
not.
yeah, that's fair. That is true. And you don't want to waste a bunch of draft capital later down the line to move up in a draft when you just had to do that to get Russell Wilson in the first place. Um, Yeah, you bring up a good point. Maybe you do if you're able to go get your guy now. I worry that you're going to bring him into a system that's not going to be able to develop him properly right now. Not saying that Sean Payton won't be able to do that maybe later down the line with the Broncos, but right now I just don't know if that team is built up. That offense specifically is strong enough to. I don't know. I don't know. I I I have concern about rookies coming in and starting right away. And I mean, if it is something like you said where they don't, and Jameis is the mentor, then maybe that's the way to go. I don't know.
I definitely think that's the way to go in a situation like this.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not every quarterback is C.J. Stroud coming out and having a fantastic rookie year.
that's fair. And I mean, you could probably get the fourth best quarterback, so you get your choice between Penix, and McCarthy. I would assume, unless the Vikings snag one at 11. Um, but obviously the Bears at 9 aren't going to take one if they take Caleb Williams. I personally don't think the Jets are going to take a quarterback in the first round. I think they take one of those offensive tackles. Um, the Falcons really is kind of the dark horse right now. You have no idea. They could pick a quarterback, but if they trade for Justin Fields or sign Kirk Cousins before the draft, then obviously probably not. Uh, Titans, you would assume, have their guy in Will Levis. Giants, another one you're not sure about. They could maybe go QB, but in my opinion, I think they're probably going to stick with Daniel Jones at least one more year. Chargers don't need one. Cardinals, you would assume, stick with Kyler. And then the top three, obviously. So it's possible they get the fourth guy. It's possible they get the sixth. There's really no telling right now. Um, and I think if it is a situation where JJ McCarthy's the last of those top six guys left, I think it'd be a mistake to draft him
Yeah, you could probably get him later on down the line,
there.
probably second or third round. So I'm not saying that they have to get a guy at 12. If the right guy's there, go
Sure.
ahead and get him. But if not, there are plenty of other options, better options probably to help build their team, and then get a quarterback later in the draft or later down the line in the next year or two.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be interesting to see how they try to navigate this cap situation that they've brought upon themselves. But unless you had anything else, I think that'll do it for this episode. The most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle. Here with my host today, Aaron. Don't say bye, Aaron.
Bye.
All right, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Other than that, deuces.